If you've grown up in evangelical or charismatic churches, chances are you've been indoctrinated with Christian nationalism, in other words, this God and country type stuff. And it is nasty, and we need to figure out the nastiness in order to know how to respond to it. When I say respond to it, I'm not under the illusion that these people are able to be changed. They're not. There's nothing reasonable about their approach. They're not interested in evidence. They look at the videos of what happened in Minneapolis and they somehow find a way of defending it. It's ridiculous. I'm talking about the 2 murders on the streets of Minneapolis at the hands of federally mandated agents, all with the support of the MAGA movement that is largely fueled by evangelicals. So you grew up in those circles, and now that you're seeing what it's doing to this country and to the world, you're feeling the ick, and that's a good thing. It means your instincts are at least still healthy. Now you might say to yourself, I get it, I know what I'm doing, I'm deconstructing. That's the fashionable word. But what does deconstructing mean? It means to walk away from something. But people, in my experience, who deconstruct have no idea what they're walking towards, what they're walking into, and they may be walking into the next nightmare. I know plenty of people who deconstruct and now they're walking into the next institutional setup, more authoritarian than the last one, like liturgical traditions, Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and it's hard to watch. Deconstruction makes a lot of sense, but only if something else is being constructed, and in order to do that, you have to process what happened to you in the first place. And with that in mind, I put together something that I call the No More Idolatry experience, and I want to tell you more about it. Part of processing what happened before in your life and what traumatized you is to figure out how the Bible was misused in these circles, in evangelical theology, in charismatic theology. Lousy uses of the Bible are the biggest problem in these circles. Now, evangelicalism claims to be the guardian of good interpretation. So how did they end up being so lousy that they actually come up with their own Jesus, who looks very different from the one of the New Testament? This is the kind of stuff we need to look into if we want to understand what's been going wrong, what has traumatized you, and what makes you so thoroughly disappointed about the community that formed you. So you reflect on the fact that your community has always told you that every other faith out there is just mere religion, but evangelicalism is the real thing. And now you're realizing that evangelicalism actually has become the very religion that they warned you against. They just don't realize it themselves. But where do you go from here? Now, in order to figure that out, we have to understand Christian nationalism, and I put together something that is designed specifically to help us with that. And again, this is not going to persuade people who are fundamentalist in their mindset. They're not capable of change, and you and I can't do a thing about it. But what we can do is get healthy in our own understanding, overcome some of the trauma that we've experienced and some of the disappointment, and actually become forces for the better in this world, as opposed to evangelicalism, which has frankly turned nasty. As far as Christian nationalism is concerned, here's a classic example of this lousy use of the Bible. Pastors might tell you that because God chose Israel as a people in the Old Testament, therefore we can conclude that God is interested in countries, and especially in the United States, because the United States is the friend of Israel. That is utter nonsense. But unless we know why it is nonsense, we're not able to do much about it. And frankly, it's not even just about you. Evangelicalism claims to be about good news, but it has actually become lousy news, terrible news, vengeful news for this world. So rather than just worry about us as individuals, we should be concerned with building communities that are actually worth having and that embody the good news that Jesus is known for. As a biblical scholar, it drives me crazy to see that people not only walk away from evangelicalism, which they should, I absolutely get that, but they walk away from the Bible too, because they equate the two and they don't realize evangelicalism thoroughly misused the Bible. If we read the Bible well, we end up with something that is actually healing and restorative, and that's actually really good news for this world. So we need to look into that too. It's not just about dismantling evangelicalism, it's about finding a way back to the good news that is Jesus of Nazareth. Evangelicalism has constructed its own Jesus that has little to do with the New Testament. The text gets shrapnelized into bits and pieces, and then you rearrange them like fortune cookies and you put your own story together. That's not the Bible, that's evangelicalism. We need to look behind that, we need to expose that, and we need to do better than that. And that is what I've produced under No More Idolatry. If you go to the link that I'll show you in a minute, you're going to see another video that gives you the content of the course and therefore also the contents of the community experience. Now, there are 2 reasons why you want to sign up for that this week before Saturday. Number 1 is this: if you sign up by this Friday, you will get an invitation to a digital meeting with me, and having watched that other video, you can tell me how you would like to refine the course, What do you think is missing? What should be emphasized more? There's a major emphasis on the biblical side in this course, but there are other things too. There's sociology, there's anthropology and other things. There's history, of course. We need to know where this stuff came from and so on. And if you sign up this week, you will be invited to that live meeting with me this coming Saturday, and you can help me shape the details of this. The second reason why you want to sign up before then is this. At the moment, the whole experience is available at 1/3 of the cost. The total cost that will eventually kick in is 3 times that, and that too is a fraction of how much this would cost in a seminary, so it's already a lot cheaper. And frankly, most seminaries don't have the guts to put on this kind of content. But this week it's particularly cheap because I want to see how much interest there is. Some of you asked for longer content on this matter from me, and this is what I'm offering you. The No More Idolatry experience consists of 2 main parts. One is a course. A course alone won't do much, but we need it. We need the content, and we need intelligent content, not AI content. We need something that's actually integrated and makes sense. That's the course component. There are weekly lectures that people watch in their own time, and then we get together typically on a Saturday for about 2 hours, and we work our way through those lectures. We don't listen to them again, we talk about them, and that is where the transformation happens, because that is where our lives touch each other, and that is where we get transformed, and where the content settles in and becomes part of who we are. That is what we call transformation. And I want to invite you to join us for that. So please sign up, and we're going to create an amazing experience together. I could tell you of the last one, the narrative experience, and how incredible that was. If you want to talk to any of those participants, let me know and I'll put you in touch. At the end of that, we decided we're even going to meet in Pennsylvania, and we're going to bake together in a vintage bakery near Pittsburgh, and we're going to do panettone and French pastries together, and we'll talk theology throughout that weekend. It's going to be amazing. And who knows what you and I are going to create together at the end of the experience called No More Idolatry. Maybe we're going to make cocktails together. Maybe we use that bakery and do the same thing the other group did. Either way, it's going to be amazing. Friendships are going to be formed, and we're going to be transformed. So please go to this link. Notice that it's all lowercase. You may have to wait a few seconds, or you hit the button Go to Destination. Sign up by Friday and join me on Saturday if you can. Now, importantly, you can save a lot of money for the rest of this week until Friday. You just enter the code -300 in the checkout field. If you want to support this work, if you think this is urgent, you can of course forgo that and just pay the full price of $450. And that's the price it will default to March 1st. But for the rest of February, so until Friday this week, you only pay $150. That's one payment only, and you have to use that coupon by then because it stops working after that. And before you sign up, on that same site you can watch another video that gives you the contents, and that way you know what you're getting, and then on Saturday you can help me refine that if you so wish. Of course, you don't have to attend that Saturday meeting. You will still get the discount if you use that coupon that I gave you a minute ago. But you have to do it this week by Friday, because after the meeting it's going to go back to the normal price. So in summary, go to this link, watch the video, sign up, and see me on Saturday, noon Central. I will send you a link to your email that you give me when you sign up, and I'll see you in the video meeting this Saturday at noon Central. If you can't make it to the meeting, there will be a recording for you. The course and community experience proper starts in about 2 weeks, and you will get an email reminder before that.